forever. So stop me or take my advice.
Now, from the Untold Radio Network, it's Untold Radio AM with Doug and Alex Hajicek.
Hey. Man, I've got the fan going in the studio today.
It's that bad, huh?
It was like 90 degrees outside today.
Jeez.
What are you saying? Geez, you live here too. You didn't notice.
I'm just so focused.
You go right from the office into your air-conditioned Toyota. And you go home into your air-conditioned house, in your air-conditioned studio.
Yes.
Yeah, so you didn't even notice. Anyhow, it's hot and humid today. So welcome everybody in chat and all the listening audience and all the Untold Radio members.
Yeah, welcome everyone. What? You always give me.
I'm just gonna stare at you. That's all I'm gonna do.
Just give me. I'm getting nervous.
I'm just gonna stare. I'm not gonna do anything. Anyhow, did you catch the new show Grasping Sasquatch on Monday?
Yeah, he was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was a really good show. It's got to be nerve-wracking doing your first
one
show, but
by yourself.
Yeah, by yourself. I don't think I could even do that
without an Alex.
That's why I need you. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Who would I have to talk to? I wouldn't have anybody to talk to.
I know.
Yeah.
He's good, man. He had the PowerPoint and everything.
Yeah. He's got the radio voice. I told him.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Oh, there he is. Hey, John. Yeah, awesome show. Please check out Grasping Sasquatch. It's posted and episode 2, and actually it's going to be part 2 of his topic. Flight or fright, or fright or flight. Which one is it?
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight?
Yeah.
Or fright?
Fright
or flight? I don't even know.
He's going to have to correct us.
I'm stupid. Okay, anyhow. But I just thought that was a really good show. Super good show. Anyhow, at the bottom of the hour, we have C Wayne Totherow. And I do apologize to Wayne. I added a period after C and put it in the middle instead of putting it at the beginning. We got to fix some of it. He didn't say anything. He's too nice.
Yeah.
But we kind of caught that afterwards. It's got to be, we're going to have him explain. It's got to be a Southern thing.
Yeah, it's got to be Southern or
something. I'm not familiar with that. I just thought C was his middle initial.
Yeah, it's like pop versus soda.
Yeah, something like that. Anyhow, I apologize, Wayne, but Wayne is he is a Mannimal researcher. Do you know what a Mannimal is?
What is that like any kind of cryptid?
No, it would be something that's half animal, half man. I suppose Dogman would fit into that. Bigfoot would.
Yeah, I could see that.
I love that name, Mannimal. I could say it all day. Mannimal. It's a cool name. Anyhow, so we'll have Wayne on at the bottom of the hour. In the meantime, did you hear about this first ever dog and fox cross caught in the wild? It's a hybrid of a fox and a dog. I didn't think that was possible. And I'm sure it's sterile, but they caught it in Brazil.
So
at least that's what's in the news. You know, skeptical I am. I'd send you a photo of it. That's it. Cute.
Super cute.
So how do they know they must have done DNA on it?
Yeah, I know. How would you know? I mean, just kind of like a dog.
The whole article stunk. It says the world's first confirmed dog-fox hybrid has been found in the Brazilian wilderness. The animal was hit by a car in the area of Carnia in 2021 and taken to the veterinary hospital for treatment, but staff were unable to conclude whether it was a fox or a dog. So, anyhow. It's just weird.
It's weird. It's bizarre.
It's an untold animal.
It's untold.
So what would you call it? A dox?
A dogs? Or a
Or a
fog?
fog?
A fog. A fog.
Oh,
Got me
my
a
God.
fog.
Anyhow, well, maybe they'll start breeding them or something. I'd like to see a fox and an octopus combined.
A fox and an octopus.
It'd be a foctopus.
Octopus.
Yeah.
Would he be hairy?
Yeah, of course it would have hair on its tentacle.
Of
That took you a while. Yeah, it would be hairy.
course.
Yeah. Okay. Scientists discover concerning material inside human hearts. Do you know what that was?
No, what was it?
Microplastics.
Oh, of course. Microplastics.
Yeah.
Take it away from
So
me.
here I am eating. I was eating yogurt with my plastic spoon, digging into my yogurt with my plastic spoon in a plastic container, going, how could that be? So anyhow, that's how it could be. I use plastic silverware.
Yeah, I know. I do it too.
Yeah,
I know. It's not.
And then I recycle it. So I'm like, probably uses less resources than water. I don't know.
It could be.
Who knows? Anyhow, so I was just wondering. But apparently they found 9 types of microplastics and tens of thousands of plastic pieces and tissues from most parts of the heart. And of course, they found it in their lungs and blah, blah, blah.
Jesus.
Who knows? Maybe it's good for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe
Polypropylene. Eventually, your heart will just turn to polypropylene.
you're slowly
Yeah.
being
slowly.
preserved in plastic.
Yeah. And then let's see here. There was a mystery object spotted in the sky over Illinois. God knows what does that mean UFO? I have no idea. Mystery object. And I sent you a video, and I don't know if you've got it. Video 1 of this mystery object, but it said a crowd gathered to watch this mystery object in the sky. Witness described the object as a white or translucent balloon. Well, my God, if it's white and translucent like a balloon, it's probably a balloon.
Probably is.
If it looks like a balloon, probably is. If it looks like a weather balloon, which it did to me, probably is. So I'm just like, why is this in the newspaper? Why is this a big deal? But go ahead and play it.
They're responding to reports of something. We don't know what it was floating high in the sky. News 8's Jonathan Fong talked with police and witnesses, trying to get to the bottom of this mystery.
This Wednesday afternoon in Prophetstown, there were about a dozen people gathered here at Todd's Tire and Auto to try to make sense of an unusual object
This is
spotted in
big
the
time
sky.
news,
It
guys.
drew so much attention that even the police chief had to check it out for himself.
I was off duty, sitting at home, and I got a phone call from a man named, we call him Rocky Ballard.
Can you
And
just
he
skip
works
to
at
the
Todd's
footage?
Tire
We
and
don't
Auto,
need
and
the
he
whole
says,
news.
"Hey, I see this."
Where is
Just
it?
skip to the
All we
pay
can see is
dirt.
this
There we
bluff,
go.
and it had a better look in
It
person.
just looks, that really just looks like a balloon.
And what it was doing, we have
So
no idea.
anyhow, that's enough of
So
that.
you don't think it's
It didn't make any noise, right? It was
It
hovering.
didn't do anything. It was just floating there. It's like, so I put this up only just kind of like, really? That's UFO hysteria right there.
It was floating kind of like a balloon
It was
does.
floating like a balloon. It was translucent like a balloon. Well, my God, it might have been a balloon. Moving on. Okay, NASA UFO report.
Yeah.
Unexplained objects could pose a threat, warn scientists. No, it didn't say they were NASA scientists, but I think it was. And it says NASA announces it was appointing a director of UFO research after admitting that there was unexplained objects in the skies. Oh my God, he admitted there were unexplained objects in our skies.
Wow.
It's like,
how
I just
brave.
like, what are these people doing? These people actually work and have been working on this in a space agency. So he's finally admitting there's objects we don't understand. Wow. So it goes on to say the U.S. Space Agency released a new report following a 15-month inquiry into unidentified anomalous phenomena, warning that the data is just too limited to make a definitive scientific conclusions. An independent team concluded that the majority of UFO were natural phenomena, mostly airplanes, balloons, ditto, drones, weather phenomena, or an issue with the recording instruments. Anyhow, it's just, I read these things and I just shake my head and they just keep coming out. Just articles like this. This article's like at least 75 years behind, right?
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow. Video 2, this is not one of Doug's clips, it's just video 2. I thought it was crazy because this guy's driving a Tesla and this tornado's kind of crazy. Anyhow, it gets lifted off the road. And this Tesla is so soundproof. All you hear is the wipers. Blaine was telling me how soundproof his Tesla is, and this definitely proves it. Listen to this. Go ahead. You can barely hear his wipers going. Do you have the sound up?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's so soundproof.
See, there's the twister. It's just starting to come behind him here. I didn't say it lifted him far. There it was right there.
Whoa.
See it?
Yeah, it just shot right past him.
Yep. Anyhow, there you go. That could have been one of the smaller vortexes off the main tornado that his dash cam caught.
I could see
Kind of
that.
crazy. Yeah, it wouldn't be good to get lifted in all the way, would it?
God, no.
It does happen. There was a guy that I had a film shoot with, and his home got completely wiped out in a tornado. His family went down in the basement. They were hanging onto the hot water heater when the twister was taking their home, and it literally sucked the carpet, and they had linoleum underneath them and sucked that away, and it just right down to the bare concrete, and they were still holding on to the water heater pipes.
Jeez.
Lucky they had that. So I was like, oh, that's a good tip. Right?
Yeah, it was a
Even
great
in your
tip.
basement. Up you can go. All right. That's all I've got. I was kind of lazy this week. I've been working on Legend Meets Science too much.
What a perfect thing to be busy with, man.
Yeah, I know, but it cuts into my podcasting fun.
That is true.
Does.
Do you want to just shoot right to the clips? Get into the
Yeah,
good
let's go to my clips and do whatever housekeeping you have to do. So stand by. People didn't have to stand by long, did they?
No, I'm quick.
Yeah. Anyhow, clip 1. It's Halloween. I'm actually seeing Halloween decorations in people's yards. Me and Asia went bike riding yesterday, and there was a I think it must have been 20-foot tall skeleton in a guy's yard.
Yeah, they're just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing. I went to the hardware store. They had all these displays that just tower over you. They had a werewolf display that was like 20 foot high. Anyhow, I just thought this costume was really creative. Cheap to do, super creative. Go ahead and play it. No sound. This is what you got to do, Alex. I know you always go to a Halloween party or two, don't you? Don't you?
Yeah, usually.
Oh, this is a good one. I'll help you make it.
It's got to be a little kid in there.
I just got to hot glue some glasses and hat on a wire.
From far away, it looks really good.
Yeah. You just need to look out holes in your coat. I just thought it was cool. Okay. Clip 2. Sound is good. Starting out slow. This is just this massive what in the world boat engine. You got to see this to believe it. It is literally 20 cylinders, 8 carburetors. It's just insane. Sounds good. You got to turn it up though. So he's just winding it up to get it started here. It's not started yet. There it goes. It's one of the engines. It's got another one. And that little wooden boat. Can you imagine how quick that thing goes?
Oh my god.
You're not even paying attention.
Oh, this is crazy.
There's just people on shore just laughing at them. Okay, clip 3 reminded me of you. If you were a donut delivery guy, this is what would happen to you. Sound is good.
Look at that, dude. You don't see that every day.
Donut delivery truck.
Oh no.
Just waiting for mom.
I think you would quit your job, wouldn't you? Right
Yeah,
there.
I resign.
You don't see
I'm
that
done.
every day.
It's funny. Those bears just look so guilty just in there.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's like
I'm
they're not going
in there.
anywhere. Oh my god. Okay. Clip 4 is interesting. The sound is good. I had no idea ravens were this strong. You got to see the strength this bird represents. Look at that. Yeah, these are half bricks.
Okay, new fear unlocked.
Yeah. We can do. I like the guy that tamed it or whatever he did, trained it. It's just insane how strong they are and smart.
Oh yeah.
So if you're doing gifting and you're putting stuff heavy out and it comes back, could be a raven. Keep that in mind. If you're not, I know some people do gifting, they don't put cameras on, so I have no idea what's messing with their stuff. Could be a raven,
Could be.
right? So put some really big, heavy bricks in your gifting thing and see what happens. Super heavy. All right. Clip 5 is also another bird.
The incredible.
Dang, geez, you're quick. I've never seen anything like this. This bird actually claps his wings and makes kind of a
Really?
like an explosion or a whip sound, but start it kind of in the middle, Alex. So we can just get to the good stuff.
You play the action from her point of view.
I guess quick. Smacks his
Leaping
wings
across
together.
his stage, the mannequin snaps his wings together, creating an awesome crack.
Isn't that cool?
A crack that can be heard
right out of,
300 yards away.
Action
Okay.
movie.
As he repeats this to
Anyhow, that bird is called a kraken bird. That's what
I can see why.
that's what it's called, a kraken.
I wonder where they got the idea.
I don't know how they named that bird, the kraken. Not the kraken, like the squid, the kraken.
The Kraken.
Yep. All right, clip 6. Sound is good, and just hang on. Don't play it. God, you're so quick. This will give you an idea how quick our jets are because it flies, next to a stationary object. When you see these things in the air, they don't look that quick. If I have one buzz you, it's a different deal. I had one buzz me like this literally when I was at Key West, driving on the bridge, Key West. This thing just buzzed my windshield, just like what? Good. What? Scared in the living room.
Whoa.
Play it one more time. It really does give you an idea of the speed.
Wait, one more time. So I can see it.
It's kind of fun. All
All right. Time to go home.
I'm glad you like that one.
I like that one.
Could you imagine flying in that thing?
Oof.
Ooh.
How quick could you
Leave
get
your
home from
tongue on the
work?
windshield. Huh?
Imagine leaving work in that thing.
Yeah, you gotta go home. Pew. Okay, clip 7 is a really weird vehicle I call the centipede vehicle. I don't even know what they call it, but it's got like 100 tiny wheels on it. It's kind of, I don't like the sound it makes when it drives, but play it. Sounds good.
What do they do with this thing?
I don't know. It's like somebody just built it.
They just built it. Why
Had an
not?
idea for he
Yeah.
got his helmet on there. You need that.
Who needs a 4-wheeler when you have the centipede?
Is that weird?
Yeah. Struggling.
I just don't know how he's getting power to each one of those wheels.
Yeah.
Maybe probably a little electric motor.
I mean, you think that it is,
Like a little BBS HD on each one.
you think they can handle off-road stuff better than a 4-wheeler?
I don't know. It's pretty cool. Smooths out bumps. It needs some rubber on those tires, though, those little tires.
Yeah.
Or maybe it does. I don't know. I didn't study it. Okay, clip 8. Sound is good. It's just a weird cloud. Don't get excited. But it is interesting, and I've kind of seen things like this, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know. It's kind of made me think. Take a look at this one.
Just happened to be in the backyard, and I'm so glad I got this on camera. So, this cloud caught my attention because it was literally the only cloud in the sky that day. There was 0 clouds. And a few minutes later, the cloud was gone. And a few minutes later after that, the cloud was back. I thought I was going crazy. So I got out my phone, put it on time lapse. Check this out. Have you ever seen a cloud act like this?
This is more exciting than that weather balloon.
All right, so now look, I know that clouds can technically dissipate and kind of reform, but I've never seen one do it quite like this. And especially a little itty bitty cloud on a hot summer day, all by itself, the only cloud in the entire sky. And this cloud barely moved. It pretty much stayed in the same spot and just kept disappearing and reappearing over and over again.
Clouds have to form somewhere. Might as well do it right there.
What is this? You guys are from NASA. That's right, you're from NASA.
All right.
Am I just being ignorant to some weird...
He's not being ignorant. This cloud's got to form somewhere, right?
Yeah, or it's, glitch in the matrix.
It's the what?
Glitch in the matrix.
Glitch in the matrix. Okay, good. I'll take that. I swear to God, I'm still having the glitch every time I pull up to my corner. All these people crossing. And I look both ways. There's nobody for miles. Happens every single day to me. And I'm like, what is with this? It's like a matrix forms of people and pedestrians.
That's how the clouds form. Some of them.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, I got everybody noticing now I drive with. They're all like, yeah, this is weird. Because they look, I swear to you, you can look both directions for a mile and there's nobody. There's nothing. And every time I pull up, there's like 30 people crossing. It's like a stage show. Okay. Oh yeah. Clip 9. Now we're getting a little closer to home here. Sound is good. This is a Bigfoot clip, but it might be wearing shoes. So I'm gonna let you all decide. It might be off balance. It might have pooped in its suit or costume, or it could be real. Serious. It's one of those clips, but it does walk like it pooped in its costume. Just take a look. All right. Sound is good.
Video on the internet that's got everyone talking. It was shared by a Reddit user named no_adagio 6743. A lot of people online are discussing and wondering if it's showing something real or if it might be just a trick. The video begins with what looks like a regular day out on a boat. Someone is using their phone to film the water and the surroundings in Ontario, Canada. It seems like a regular, fun day on the boat. But as the video continues, things take a surprising turn,
like I said,
and
could
what
be
happens
real.
next has left everyone guessing. Watch this.
Added spooky music. That's always good. That's
Oh,
always
I
a good
saw
sign.
something.
So look at the way it's tiptoeing there. It looks like it pooped its pants. It's walking with its legs spread. Wait, just that part.
Okay, they like go to right to where he comes out, right?
Yeah, right there.
Right there, right?
Yeah, keep clicking it so we can watch it.
Okay. What did you think of this clip?
I
What
said
did you
exactly
notice?
what I thought. Looked kind of like it had shoes on. It looked like it pooped in its suit.
Yeah,
And it's walking like it doesn't have any balance.
I mean, definitely. Do you think like seriously, like red flags or like marks?
Well, the red flags are the way it's walking.
So you think it's?
It looks like it's picking out rocks real gingerly, like a person who's never been walking on rocks.
It doesn't. It's not walking like a native. Like
no, like a
someone who's
natural animal.
like, yeah.
Plus, I swear to God, I can see shoes. You see how they're like way up the ankle? It's
yeah.
So there you go. All right, that's my thoughts. But it could be real. I'm not saying it's not.
It could be.
You know, all I do is the red flag technique.
Oh, how many red flags?
Walking with its legs spread like it's got poop in its pants. I'm thinking that's a red flag. Seeing what I think are boots seems like a red flag. It wasn't the owner discussing what happened. The spooky music, you know, the whole thing is
the spooky music.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it ends up on TikTok. That's another one. I mean, it's just eventually you just go ignore. But it's interesting to watch.
I don't know if you know this, but when I was a kid, you know, we watched a lot of alien documentaries.
Yeah. Who?
You and me.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the old 70s,
like on
80s.
Sci-Fi and
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And those things would give me nightmares, man.
Did they really?
Because they would play that music, the or whatever. I can't do it, you know, but like they just, and then they'd show something and they'd show it again and then they'd cut to some guy in a dark room.
Yeah, the creepy music definitely helps. I actually just got done producing one of our mini docs called the Food for Thought series. I think we've posted 2 or 3 up on Untold Radio.
3. We got 3 up.
3 up, and I'm going to just I've got 10 done, but I have to do some re-editing and polishing of each one. And I'll be posting, you're going to be doing about 1 a day, posting on the Untold Radio Network.
Yeah.
They're little 2-minute and 58-second docs. They have nothing to do with legend meet science, but they're information that's trapped in my head I want to get out to the audience. So.
Yeah, it's cool education.
Value added to the Untold Radio Network, so please subscribe. Somebody just, oh my God, there's a new member.
Thank you.
Restall, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We need more members. Let's see here. I've been doing this 3 years. I still haven't made a penny. Not one.
We got one more clip, right?
Yeah, we have clip 10. This is just a common European starling.
European.
Yeah, it's a starling. It's just a common bird in Europe. Okay. But they're brilliant. You know, starlings are brilliant. They mimic really well. And some of the sounds this thing is mimicking is pretty crazy. So go ahead and play it. It's your Star Wars sounds. So keep playing.
That's where George Lucas got all his sound effects.
Yeah, might have. Who knows? You see the coloration of this bird, by the way?
Yeah.
While we're listening to it, that is what that Bigfoot looked like, the last one that we saw.
It did.
Its fur or hair looked exactly like this. That black and white, you know, those white, evenly spaced dots, kind of, or whatever we call it.
That's a beautiful color.
Oh, this thing me and Yvette both saw it walking. It was incredible looking. Certainly was no guy.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, but just that coloration, that's probably what caught my eye on this clip that just hit me. The coloration of that bird.
Where'd you go? Let's get you
I'm
back
hiding.
on here.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
So, should we?
I haven't moved. I took a drink of water, so it went off. It's probably rude of me to drink water.
So do you want to take a quick break and then have?
Yeah, let's get C Wayne Totherow from Mannimal Research up. I'm excited to. I have never talked to Wayne. I'm really excited to. Everybody just talks so highly about Wayne.
Perfect. All right, guys. We'll be right back.
Hello once again, everybody out there at Untold Radio Land. This is Brendan Brown, host of the fastest 30 minutes in the cryptid world, This Week in Bigfoot. Here's what we got coming up on this Friday show. With hunting season fast approaching, we'll take a look at why so many encounters happen when deer hunters and Bigfoot cross paths in the woods. Mike Lucci takes a look at Bigfoot sightings in moon phases. Snowwalker heads south of the border for a brand new 2 minutes with, and a small bookstore and corner of the Bigfoot community is lost to flames. These stories and a whole lot more this Friday night at 8:15 on the next This Week in Bigfoot, only on CARC Universal. You better be there.
Show your support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
Hey Untold Radio Network fans, want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
Well, we have Wayne. I believe Wayne's in the back room, correct?
He is, yes.
Oh my God, you went slow motion there for a minute. You look like the $6 million man. Of course, nowadays it would be the $6 trillion man.
Yes.
Did you remember that show?
Yes.
Do you remember when he fought Bigfoot?
Yeah, that was a great episode.
Oh, yeah. You don't remember that show.
I know of the show. I've never seen it.
You've never seen it.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
They used a lot of goofy, corny slow-mo.
So what was he like, cybernetically enhanced?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Anyhow, but let me get to, okay, so I don't even know where to start here. C Wayne. See, he's got I see a period after his name in his own bio he sent me. Aha. Maybe I didn't. That's probably what I saw, the C. So C Wayne Totherow, I believe, correct?
I think it's Totherow, but he'll probably
Totherow.
He'll tell us.
Say it again.
How it is. Totherow?
Say it louder.
I'm not going to say it wrong 3 times.
I'm saying it so quiet I can't even hear you. Oh my God. Host. Okay. Wayne is the host of the Paranormal Odyssey. Okay. So he works with Brian King Sharp on Brian's network. Yes. And Wayne is the founder and president of Mannimal Research. It says a small Sasquatch research group out of Southeast Tennessee. He has led the investigation team on many field investigations there, as well as in North Georgia. He's also a friend of John Baranachuk, which is cool. I think that's how I met Wayne. Well, I didn't meet him, but that's
how you connected.
We connected, through John. It's also he deals and does research in Western North Carolina, collecting evidence along the way. He has been the host of a live YouTube broadcast since February of 2020. So we know he's going to have a good mic, right?
Oh yeah, this guy is locked and loaded.
Locked and loaded. Okay. Well, we'll get into more stuff about Wayne when we get him on, and we will be posting links to his show and to the Paranormal World Productions too. But let's get Wayne on.
Hey, Wayne.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, Wayne. Can you cheat your body to aim? I want to look at you. There, you want to see your eyes. There you go. Just cheat.
Well, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
There, just a little bit. I want to see. Yeah. But you got looks like you got a nice setup there, sir.
Thank you very much. This is where I do all of my recordings. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. So where in the world do we want to begin? But let's start where normally would. How in the world did you get interested in the topic? And did you have a sighting or an encounter that got you kind of hooked on this?
Well, I mean, I've always been a lifelong interested in cryptids and specifically Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Bigfoot used to be king. But back when I was in school, we got one trip to the library once a week in school, and we got to check out a couple of books. Mine was always on cryptids, like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra. I was just always interested in that and UFOs and stuff. And yeah, just a lifelong interest. And then about in 2019, I had to commute about an hour or so back and forth to work. So it was like 55 minutes there, 55 minutes back, and my car went down. So I had to borrow a vehicle from my dad. I brought a spare truck. And as you would know, the day after I get it, the radio goes out. So I have nothing to listen to and 2 hours worth of commute every day. And what am I going to do? I'm going to kill myself. So I discovered podcasts. That's when I was first introduced to podcasting, and I found a podcast dealing with the paranormal and the supernatural, and I loved it. I loved it. But I found myself wishing that everyone would just shut up and get back to the Bigfoot stuff, because, I mean, it just opened up this whole world to me. I started hearing, I found a podcast that dealt with nothing but Sasquatch, and I started binging it. And it just opened up a whole new world to me. I found out that there were actually people going out in the woods and doing this in their spare time. And I thought how cool that would be. And, like everyone, I thought Bigfoot was out in the West, the Pacific Northwest. And
yep.
I was listening to this episode, and this guy comes on, and he talks about this. He lives in a small town about 45 minutes north of Chattanooga, Tennessee. I think I live in a small town 45 minutes north of Chattanooga. And talking about this area, man, that sounds awful familiar. And it was a place that I'd been several times. And he had an encounter road from me. So I found out, I mean, they're all over. And this is just a great part of the country down here in the Southeast. I'm surrounded by mountains, surrounded by woods, and there's just really wasn't a better place other than the Pacific to get and do this. So that's how Mannimal Research was founded.
When did you how long ago was it that it was 2019? 2019 you started that.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world did you come up with that name, Mannimal? I love it.
Yeah, I wanted something, it seemed like every organization is just a bunch of letters, the BFRO, the, GCBRO, all that. I wanted something different, and I've always liked old stuff, like antiques and stuff. And like my name, Wayne. Wayne's an old name, and I love it. I just like old stuff. So I looked up old words that people used to describe Bigfoot, and I started coming across like the hairy man, the wild man, like Nuntuck, Nuktuck, and just weird stuff. And Mannimal was on one of these lists, and I thought, man, that's cool. And that's how I did it. That's how I found it.
Thank you, Daryl. Daryl Denton. I think you know Daryl. He's an awesome guy.
Daryl's been on the show. Yeah, he's a good.
Yeah, no, Daryl's awesome. Big supporter. Also, I was going to mention too, Alex. Did you get that donation done for Steve Struford for his bookstore that burned down?
Yes.
You did mail that?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you. Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in the whole Bigfoot world with people getting sick and dying, and just been crazy. I don't like it. It's been icky. But okay, so tell me, have you gone like into other areas, Wayne, and done research, or has it pretty much just been in that southeast area?
I mean, as far as like general location, yeah, the southeast is as far as I've gone. I mean, I've got areas in North Georgia, but I mean, I'm right on the Tennessee-Georgia line.
Oh, okay.
And there's a place that I like to go to that's literally in the corner. I mean, I tell people that you can stand in Tennessee and throw a rock into Georgia, and you can pee into North Carolina. That it's down there in the corner. So the western part of North Carolina and North Georgia and Southeast Tennessee is my spots.
So let's get right to it. What do you think these things are? I mean, you've been doing a lot of field research. Do you have any strong opinion, or are you still open-minded?
It seems like the more I look into it, the less I know. To be honest.
Join in the club.
Yeah. When I first started and started like looking into it heavy, you could not convince me otherwise that this was a biological creature, a North American primate that we just have not caught up with yet. It's just another one of God's creations, and we just don't know anything about it. That's what I was convinced of. And but I've talked to hundreds of people by now, probably close to 1,000, taking in encounters and talking to people, and people are seeing some weird stuff, man. They're not all lying either. I mean, how can you dismiss that stuff? I mean, I wasn't there to witness some of the things that people claim.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a long answer to your short question, but
No, it's actually a short answer. I mean, the bottom line is it sounds like you don't have any proof yourself one way or the other. I don't think anybody does.
No.
You know, in the end, I think people just kind of lean one way or the other, I guess, leaning.
Right.
So which way do you kind of lean, Wayne?
I'm still in that biological camp.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a flesh and blood creature. I think it's a creature that has some abilities that we just can't understand.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is no matter what they are, they leave footprints, they're physical.
Right.
You know, at least when they're here. This whole metaphysical concept that they're here when they're here, not when they're not. You could say that about people too. I mean, you know, if you're a church-going guy or a Christian or whatever faith you are, we all believe in some type of afterlife that's metaphysical. I mean, you know,
right.
like many of us, if not most, if not even all, have had ghost-type experiences, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So let me ask you this, Wayne, because you said the more you dove into this, the more you felt like you had less answers. Were you intrigued by that? Like, did that make you more vested, more interested? Because, like, how deep does this go?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you start talking about things like orbs, there are people out there that swear that they see these little balls of light in the woods, either right before or right after a Sasquatch encounter. What is that? I mean, how do you explain that? Does it have an ability to transform into something and move away quick? Is that how it's getting away from people?
Or is it just coincidence that
exactly
these forest lights have been there forever? Because
and you can say, you know, Doug, you can say the same thing about people that see a spacecraft, a UAP, either before or after a Bigfoot experience. Is it just coincidence, or are they connected?
Right, we don't know.
No.
We don't know, and until some really brilliant person comes up with, like John, he's trying to, you know, those are kind of his things that he's trying to figure out how to quantify, to study scientifically.
John is a hell of a guy. He's a great guy.
But those things are frustrating. I mean, to a guy like me, I have no choice. I wouldn't even know where to begin to study anything paranormal. I'm striking out just on the physical, you know. I haven't gotten any footage yet, you know, and unlike other people, I'm not willing to hire some guy to put on shoes and a costume he's going to poop in.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. So I'm just, you know, struggling here, trying to figure out, there's got to be a way to outsmart these things because there's nothing perfect in the world. There's no perfect rock, no perfect diamond, no perfect creature. We all have flaws. And so speaking of flaws, so then what would be your idea of flaws a Bigfoot would have? What are the things, what do you think their weaknesses are?
You know, it's really interesting that you brought that up, and I'm glad that we're kind of segueing into this. We got an opportunity to. The Patterson-Gimlin film, I think most of us would agree that's the gold standard in Bigfoot evidence.
Yep.
How was it? I've asked so many times, and I've wondered so many times, how was it these two cowboys were able to sneak up on this Bigfoot in the wide open in 1967, and we haven't been able to do it since? And Doug, Alex, I think the answer to that is horses. These guys were on horses. They had been out there for I don't know how long. You know, they hadn't bathed. I'm sure they were pretty rank.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on top of these horses that smell like horses and up in the woods. And they're walking up in the mountains and they're walking around riding on these horses and turn a corner and all of a sudden there's this giant Sasquatch just walking towards them. Why is that? Why has that not happened since? I think that they are interested in horses.
Yeah, horses. In fact, I did at one point, I proposed a show called Cowboys and Monsters. Basically using horses, a group of really good trackers, people who are interested in the Bigfoot phenomena on horseback. So I agree. I'd certainly played a role because, the other things though there was a noisy stream, Bluff Creek. And I believe there was a lot of water in it that time, and there was a big log jam. And then the sound of the horses would not sound like humans. Might have sounded like elk. And then they had a spring wind camera that just quick pull trigger. There's no focusing, no turning anything on, just pull the trigger.
Right.
I always wondered, I don't know if you've ever wondered this, what if they would have had an iPhone 12 in their pocket? In the off position, if they would have gotten anything. I kind of wonder.
That's a great question.
Or even if they were just trying to get the app open.
Yeah. So that would be really something that I've got in my outline. I want to put in Legend Meet Science too. We haven't filmed it yet, but that is, and I own a 16 millimeter, very similar camera to what they used, and that is to have a contest. I put Alex in a suit. Alex, you ready for this? We'll put you in a suit. Now we'll just put a little hair on your face.
Is this during hunting season?
Yes, it'll be during hunting season.
Perfect.
And then we're going to release you. We'll release you, and you have to get away and to see who gets footage of you, the guy with the 16 millimeter or with the guy with the iPhone in his pocket.
Can I also be covered in honey?
Yes, we'll cover you in honey.
Just
gotta have
interesting.
Wayne's got a scent formula that will cover you in.
Okay. So what did you say, 16 millimeter?
Yeah.
The iPhone guy or the grizzly bear gets me first.
Yeah, anyhow, so which one do you think? Do you think he would have, Wayne, gotten any footage if Roger just would have had a modern cell phone in his pocket?
That I've never thought about that, Doug. That's a great question. I've been asked, not been asked, but it seems like everyone asks when you have a Bigfoot experience, the first question anyone ever gets asked is, why didn't you take a picture? Right. Well, but then you've got all those factors that Alex was just talking about. Well, everyone's got a camera on them by being a phone, but you got to get that phone out. You got to open the phone. You got to find the camera app and start taking pictures and all that stuff. So I think that's a very, very valid question. Very valid point to make. I don't know.
I think if I can get it in the doc and a really good scientific representation of how much time, then we can do different things. We can say, well, okay, now this time the guy will have the iPhone off in his pocket, completely off. Next one will be he has it on, but he doesn't, he's got to still hit the record button. The next one will be maybe it's in a saddlebag. We'll figure it out. I might even do it with horses. So I just think it'll give people food for thought, right?
Yeah, this is actually something you're wanting to try, Doug?
Yes.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, plan on putting it in Legend. It's in my outline to do it. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on doing it.
Awesome.
And like I said, I own a 16 millimeter. Apparently you can still get footage at Walmart, Wayne.
Really?
Yeah. You can still get 16 millimeter footage at Walmart and they'll still develop it.
Oh, wow.
Walmart online, of course, the online.
Yeah.
And you can get cameras. Anybody can get a 16 millimeter camera on eBay for $50, film camera. They're cheap.
Yeah, but guys, I'm sure y'all heard that question a million times. Why didn't you take a picture of the thing? And I'm sorry to get off topic here, but that's something that really gets to me is I was presented with that exact scenario one time. I was out on an expedition, got all of this equipment with me, thermal cameras, video recorders, just you name it, and we had it. We're there for one reason, to gather evidence. And we're there. There's 4 of us on this expedition, and this was back when we were doing night hikes, what we called night hikes. We don't do that anymore as a group. I just don't see much of a point in it.
Yeah.
But 2 guys went out, and I wasn't feeling it that night. I felt off. So I stayed back at camp, and I kept one of the guys' 13-year-old grandson. He stayed back with me. So the other 2 guys were gone for about no more than 10 minutes. And me and the 13-year-old boy are standing back at camp, and we have 2-way radios. We're staying in constant contact. And Doug, the most horrendous sound you have ever heard in your entire life just goes off. And this thing was close. It scared the crap out of us. And I'm standing there with this 13-year-old boy that's inching his way closer and closer to me while this is going on. And it went off about a half dozen times within about a minute to a 90-second span. I had all this equipment there with me. What do you think I grabbed?
Nothing.
I grabbed the 45 off of my hip.
Yep.
That's exactly what I grabbed.
Yeah.
So that whole 90 seconds to 2 minutes, I stood there with my gun in my hand, listening to this thing. I never once got my phone out to record. I never picked up a camera to record. The guys that were doing the night hike, I got on the radio and I said, "Do y'all hear that?" "Yeah, we heard that." I said, "Well, y'all head back here." So they started walking back. The whole time they were coming back, they never pulled anything out to record, because at that point, safety is your number one concern. I was scared, and I didn't even think to pull out a camera.
Yeah, definitely. Life preservation trumps everything.
Right.
I think it does. I've been in that situation many times. There's been times where I know there was a Bigfoot right out my window. Like, we just got back from Snow Grove. This thing was standing. I mean, you could just hear this thing walk up to the window. The ground was shaking, and thing was banging on the porch and smacking the cabin. And I was afraid to open the window.
And that's why you were there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why, because you just think, oh man, because there could be a temper, there could be, you don't want to startle a crazy gorilla. So you don't. You just I don't want to take a chance. If it's 1 in 10, things going to react. You don't. I'm not brave.
Right.
So,
I get it.
Yeah. No, that's a good example. You grabbed your gun. Perfect. So what is the most, amazing experience that you've had out in the field? I know you had a great experience with John too out in the field.
Had a couple of interesting things happen with John out in the field, but if your question is the most amazing, I do have and I didn't think to send it to you. I wish I would have, but I've got a thermal image of what I believe to be a Bigfoot. We captured it one night. It was February of 2020, I believe. I think it was 2020. Like I said, it was early February, up on a mountain in North Georgia, in Lafayette, Georgia. It was bitterly cold, guys. It was in the low teens that night. It was so ridiculously cold. And we get the image or the sight of something over to our left. I pull out the thermal and I start, trying to look for it, look through the lens to find it. And like I do on every expedition, I charge all of my equipment before I go out. That thermal was completely charged. I had 100% when I left the house. I could not get that thing to stay on. It did not have enough battery to shoot a video. All I could get was a few stills. It would die. I would run back to my truck, plug it up for just a few minutes, get enough of a charge to cut back on, run back, and it was still there. This happened twice. After the third time when I plugged it or charged it and ran back, the thing was gone. But we watched this, what looked like to be a giant human type figure swaying left to right like this.
Wow.
And something smaller was in front of it like scurrying, like running around. Couldn't tell what it was doing, but what comes into your mind is playing. It seemed like a little one.
How far away was it? How far away, Wayne?
50 yards. Maybe.
If you still, we have plenty of time. You can send that picture to Alex and he can get it up.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, that's got to be something to see.
Yeah,
and that's a perfect encounter because you probably didn't feel in danger.
No, we didn't, and that's something that was really odd. Something that close to us, and I never got the sense that we were in danger. I never got the feeling that we needed to leave. No, never did. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to take me just a minute, guys.
No, it's fine. Alex, would you be willing to come to Snow Grove and look out the window for me? I'll just say, Alex, look out the window.
So you still go to Snow Grove, Doug?
Your mic's off, Alex. Yeah, we just got back from there.
Yeah, that same cabin.
It happened, I don't know, 4 weeks ago.
No, I mean the same cabin from.
Yeah, same cabin. Yeah, I'd been there in 8 years. And Blaine, he was gonna go. My son, who'd been up there numerous times during cabin attacks, and Blaine kind of pooped out on me.
Yeah,
he did say he was having nightmares.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
yeah, it is.
It's one thing when you're talking about it, but when you're there,
yeah, it's different. No, it was scary.
And the plane leaves,
and you're all alone, and there ain't no way to get a hold of anybody. Yep.
Alex, I'm sending these to your cell. Is that okay?
Yeah, Messenger would be even better, but if you do my cell, I can
do Messenger. It's fine.
Okay, Messenger would be perfect. I can just pull it right off my desktop.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, I got to get Alex up. Blaine's been up there a whole bunch of times.
You should.
So Blaine, and Blaine did hurt his back, and we know that. But people, I still think he could have went. But I don't blame him one bit. I mean, he went into shock when he was young up there during a cabin attack. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been so scared, Wayne, where your heart was racing?
When that thing was screaming the way it was, that may very well be the most scared I've ever been.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you describe that kind of fear? I mean, was it a normal fear, or was there something kind of extraordinary about that fear?
I don't know. I didn't feel safe. We stayed. To our credit, we ended up staying the whole trip. But I don't know. And you're familiar with Thinker Thunker, right? You've heard of Thinker Thunker?
Oh yeah.
He did a video. Someone turned in the exact same sound that we heard. He broke it down and claims it to be a Bigfoot vocalization, but I think it's titled like Indian Reservation. It's a gentleman recording himself, and there's a sound going off in the background. It kind of sounds like a hyena laugh and a bark.
Oh, okay.
That's what we heard.
All right. Can you blow that up, Alex?
Yeah, let's see what I can do here.
So the one circled is the big one?
Yeah, that's what we watched. That's what we watched swaying left to right. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely not a deer or a elk.
And I sent another one of the smaller thing that was running. There it is. That was out to the...
I find it interesting that the apparently hottest thing on it was the stomach area.
Yeah.
Which probably would make sense at your body core. It's where the temperatures would be the highest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe John can comment on that. I don't really know if I'm just...
I really wish we...
grasping at straws. But you would think the core of the creature, like bears, like a black bear, their hottest area is their damn nose.
Yeah.
In their eye sockets, where they have heat escaping. But they're completely different than a hominid type creature.
And Doug, what do you think? I mean, you're a tech guy, equipment and stuff. Some people have said the reason that I lost the charge on the battery was the cold.
Yeah.
Others have said something was zapping, something was messing with it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily buy into that. I've never had batteries go dead because of Bigfoot activity. I have because of UFO activity.
Okay.
I've had phones go bad on me, filming a UFO at pretty close range. Phone will go bad and literally it's broken. It's the batteries are so gone. They say it's a brick. Can't even get any power through the whole phone. So I don't know. I mean, I have no explanations for that.
Does the cold weather affect battery life?
Yes, they do. They'll drain it. They'll make the life shorter, but not that much shorter. 20% tops.
Okay.
Tops.
Yeah, the thing was dead.
I mean, if that were true, you couldn't drive a Tesla in Minnesota, and leave it parked all day, at 20, 30 below zero.
That's true.
But lithium batteries, then they do kind of generate their own heat when they're being used. And I would imagine you had the camera probably in your pocket. Or did you have it in a bag? Or
it was in my bag, yeah, in the car.
It wouldn't have been the cold that zapped it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I would have been able to film it because I would love to be able to show people how it moved.
Yeah.
Like that sway and left to right. And then
exactly.
the way that small one was,
yep.
how fast it was moving.
Yeah.
Just can't explain it.
Well, it's your testimony, and at least you got a picture. It's better than none. It's better than nothing. So what do you think the thing was doing? Or why do you think it was swaying back and forth? Do you think that's just something that they do? That's something I've heard plenty of times, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I've heard that several times, like you have, that they sway from left to right and a little bit. But what's interesting, if I can share this story, what got us to go back to that location was a couple of weeks prior to that one, myself and the vice president of my organization, Derek Walls, he and I went up there by ourselves. It was 2 weeks before, so it was like the end of January. It was the last day of deer season in the state of Georgia. So whenever that was back in 2020. So either late January, early February. So we went up there and found out, well, I'll give you this little tidbit first. When we get to the base of the mountain, I checked in at the ranger station. I just wanted to, make sure we were okay camping up there, and do we need to check in and all that stuff. So I met the ranger. I talked to him. Very, very nice young man, very personable, very pleasant. Felt comfortable with him. And that he's the one that told me it was the last day of deer season. So, good luck and everything. So I asked him, I said, I'll be honest with you. We're up here. We're Bigfoot guys. We've heard some reports. Is there anything that you can tell me? He looks me right in the eye and he says, Bigfoot, no, but gnomes, yes. I thought he was crapping me.
What?
I did. I thought he was just messing with me, just pulling my leg.
What does that mean?
Gnome, like little people.
Like gnomes?
Yeah, gnome, like garden gnomes.
Like garden gnomes?
Yeah. He was dead serious. He didn't crack a grin. And I said, you're messing with me. He said, no, I kid you not. More than a few reports of little people, of gnomes up there. Even one of our most seasoned rangers that's been here the longest time had reported seeing gnomes before. Anyway, that was interesting. But that wasn't.
That's actually creepier than a Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly.
A gnome.
I thought I would throw that in there. But so we say hello and everything. He tells us where we can camp. So we head up there. We're discouraged because it was the last day of deer season. We thought everybody that hunts in Georgia is going to be up here. There's no sense in us even doing it, but we're already here. We're 2 hours from home. Make the best of it. So we get up there. We get us a good spot, camp, eat dinner, and all this stuff. And something happened later that night. Either there was an injury, someone got hurt, or someone got lost or something. But there was police activity that started up. There was an ambulance that came up there, several police officers, like I said, several rangers was up there, and we were walking through the woods, and the helicopter shows up. and this thing starts hovering right above us, like right above us.
Nice.
Not very high, much off the trees at all. We thought, man, what is going on? So we chalked that up to they probably had like thermal or something, and they saw us. We think that someone got lost. A hiker got lost or a hunter got lost or something, and they were looking for them. So say all of that to say all of the activity that was going on up there, we did not think we were going to get any Bigfoot activity at all. So, midnight, 1 o'clock, screw it. We're going to turn in, get up early and go look around, and then we'll go home. So we go to bed, but before I do, I set my voice recorder on the table underneath the bags of chips that we had brought. So you hear me set that down. We go to bed, and for about 20 minutes, you can hear us talking in the background, and then you hear nothing. And then eventually you hear one of us snoring. And just a few minutes after that, you can pick up the sound. And then it stops, and then you hear rustling with the chips that the recorder was sitting on.
Okay. So hold on a second. I got to interrupt you.
Okay.
Were you talking about footprints coming up to the recorder? Okay. Just want to clarify.
Yeah. It sounded like steps walking up. Then you hear rustling with the chips, and then you hear a thud, like something hit the ground, and then a bunch of small steps running away. And then you hear the footsteps again. We had no idea this happened. Like I said, we were asleep. We were out. It was like the next weekend when I started going over the audio that I heard it. And that's why we went back. So, again, I can't say what it was. I will never know what it was, but I can tell you what it sounds like. And I don't have the audio anymore because that laptop is gone. The laptop that I had it on is no more. So
it's too bad, there isn't a national suppository of all this audio that everybody could just upload it.
Yeah.
Catalog it and just leave it there for other people, so you could say here, and everyone gets a serial number and people can listen to them or not, whatever. It's too bad because that is a problem nowadays. Computers go bad quick.
Yeah.
And you throw them away, you get a new one, and then it's like, oh, damn, that didn't get transferred. You lose it forever. So like all of our photos, can you imagine how few photos the new parents are going to have of their kids?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all digital. Everything's digital. Anyhow, a couple of things. Somebody had made a comment that maybe that the game warden or the park ranger was pulling your leg. How do you know he wasn't? Did the guy seem dead serious?
Yeah, I mean, he very well could have been pulling my leg, but like I said, I didn't get the sense. I asked him several times. I feel like me asking him, he eventually would have said, "Nah, I'm just messing with you," but he never did. He was completely serious. But again, it's not impossible that he might have been pulling my leg. Very possible.
Very cool. And by the way, I meant depository. I was thinking of nice. Oh my God. That's hilarious. It's funny how at my age you get similar words mixed up.
Leave that to John.
But really, we do need something like that, that just people can just upload. It doesn't have to be research. It's just there and everything gets a serial number,
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and maybe a quick description because there are especially in the audio department. Dave Ellis has got 8,500 recordings.
Oh wow!
But it'd be cool if they were all public
and tagged and organized.
Yeah, tagged and described. Whatever. Anyhow, yeah, I know there'd be problems with that too. I'm not thinking this through, but it would be cool. Anyhow, so let's see here. Somebody mentioned that you were definitely onto something with your horse theory. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Well, also look at the Sierra Sounds. We're on Moorhead.
Yep, they were horseback too. Yeah, that whole thing that they went through is just amazing, and they just The recordings are so clear. But, you know, they put the audio recordings out. I know a ton of researchers that never do. It's like they're not that much money. Get a Zoom H1 and just put it out. Leave it out all day. Leave it out all night. It isn't going to cost anything. You know, once you buy the $80 recorder, you can, you know, couple of AA batteries and you're good to go forever. Somebody had mentioned whether we recorded stuff at Sungrow. Oh, God, yes. Tons of amazing stuff. Yep, and we did record the cabin getting basically attacked. Yeah. Yep.
So you own that cabin, Doug?
Pardon?
You own that cabin?
No. It's an outfitter.
Okay.
They just rent it out. Anybody can rent it out. You know, it's expensive. And it's quite a journey to get there. You know, for some of the guys, it was a 3-day journey to get there.
Mm.
So it's still like the end is they drop you off with a float plane. And they leave. And you've got 500 square miles of wilderness all to yourself.
Mm.
So it's true wilderness. And so after not being there for 8 years, I just figured, well, they probably have moved on and there won't be any activity. But boy, was I wrong. And day one started up again.
Are you planning on using that for Legend Meet Science too?
Yeah, that's why we went up. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. We went up to collect evidence, and we did. So, yeah, and we've already booked for next year, so we're going to go next year too. Yeah. So, tell me about Dogman. I mean, Mannimal is a Dogman, correct? Is that something you guys dabble in?
I don't know a whole lot about Dogman. To be honest, when I'd never heard of Dogman until 2019, 2020, when I started, going heavy into the Bigfoot, and
that's a good thing.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought it was just something silly.
Yeah.
That people were just, pulling everybody's leg. I mean, what is this 7 foot tall dog walking on 2 legs that's eating people? We got enough stuff to worry about.
We got enough stuff to worry about.
Yeah.
Do you think these Dogmen could just be Bigfoots that people are seeing?
I thought that's exactly you took the word right out of my mouth, Alex.
That's what I used to think too.
My original thought was a misidentified Bigfoot.
But then what made you change your mind?
Talking to everybody that's seen one.
Yeah.
They swear that that's not the case, that this was a dog that walks like a man. And again, now I go back to all these people aren't lying. I mean, I'm sure maybe some are trying to get or eager for or desperate for attention, but not everyone is. And there are reputable people that are seeing these things. So you have to take it into consideration. But we don't do a whole lot of Dogman stuff.
Well, didn't you have a story, something with Janice Carter?
Yeah, we went out with Janice Carter one time, and I'm sure most people know who Janice is. It was our first time ever meeting Janice Carter. Really like her. I think she's a great woman. She's come on my show a couple of times, and it is my most watched show every time that she's on. I've considered her a friend for a long time. I mean, the experience that John is talking about, they say Dogman. I don't know that it was a Dogman. Something crazy happened that night. Something spooky happened that night. That's the only time I've ever left an investigation. And I don't want to say that it was because of everyone else, but it wouldn't have been hard for me to stay. But everyone else was in agreement that we should leave. So we left. It was weird. Some stuff was being thrown at the tent. Some huge branches were being thrown. Stuff falling. A couple of trees, that's something else. A couple of trees got pushed over. It was earlier in the day. We went to an investigation. Some people that, Buddy Walls, I mentioned him earlier, Derek Walls, we went to some friends of his house down the road. They were having some issues with something. And in my 40 years, I had never heard a tree fall. And while we were there, a tree fell as we were getting ready to leave. And it creeped us out. Could have just been Mother Nature, but I don't know. Anyway, later that day, we get back to the camp when all of this weird stuff is going on at like 2:00 in the morning, another tree falls. and it was like 30 miles away, 30, 40 miles from the original one. Could have been coincidence, and it probably was, but it's an odd coincidence. We heard sounds like chain being dragged down the road. It was just a weird night, man. It was creepy as hell. And Janice was convinced that it wasn't Bigfoot, that it was something more demonic maybe. And Dogman is something she brought up that it could have been. I'm not saying that we had a Dogman experience. We didn't see a Dogman, but that's what John's referring to. And it was scary. I don't want to downplay it at all. It was a very, very intense and scary night. So much that we left. But to say it was Dogman, I'm not comfortable saying it was Dogman.
The skeptics will say, trees fall in the forest all the time, but God, it's, when you hear a tree just boosh while you're doing Bigfoot research, it's a coincidence beyond a coincidence.
Yeah.
It
gets your attention. It's scary.
Yeah. Because, I'm in the woods all the time. I spent damn near half the day yesterday in the woods, and I didn't have any trees fall. I didn't see any trees fall. These were big trees I was in. It was a old growth forest.
Have you ever heard one fall, Doug?
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. Mainly up in Ontario. And we had trees that were pushed over up there again, plus trees, shaken violently.
Mm.
When you see a tree, our activity actually started on our trip driving through the Canadian wilderness just to get to the outfitter. Was a long, 6.5 hour drive right through the middle of the forest. Mm. And literally we got a call from the guys behind us going, "Oh my God, did you guys see that tree?" Then there was a dead calm, no wind. There was one tree that was just literally shaking so violently, the top of a 30-foot tree was hitting the ground at both sides.
Wow.
And that's violent. And I went, "Oh, it's going to be a good trip." So these guys were freaked out before we even got there. It was Chris Reinhardt and Bud that were behind us. And I don't know what can cause that. And when we tried an experiment up there and we filmed it, trying to shake a 30-foot tree, they can't even budge it. Human can't even budge a 30-foot tree. 2 people. It's not happening. And I know that you and John had some trees pushed down near you.
I'm trying to remember what he's talking about. I don't remember tree being pushed down. With John, this last expedition we went on, I've always said that there's 2 things that are synonymous with Bigfoot activity that I haven't experienced. I've experienced a lot of them, but having something thrown at me, I haven't experienced. And then the smell. I've never smelt what people claim to smell. And this last expedition that I went on with John, there was some weird stuff that went on this one, I'm not sure what he's talking about with the trees, but we had something through a rock or an acorn at the side of the house that we were investigating. There was some people's vacation property, and they let us go up there and camp out in the yard to check it out while they were, I think they live in Michigan, but while they were home, they let us go and camp on the property and check it out. And something threw a rock or an acorn at the house with some crazy velocity. I mean, this thing was humming. Yeah. They had tin roofs on the house and the garage, and that makes a very distinct sound. When an acorn falls on a tin roof, it sounds completely different than when it falls on wood. And this hit the side of the house.
Yeah. There's a big difference between an acorn or a rock getting whipped at a home and one landing on the roof.
Yep.
Huge difference.
And we got some video of some eye shine that night. And we also heard some vocalizations that we can't really explain. John was getting some return calls from an owl. He was doing an owl call, and he was getting some replies with it. It was a fun night. It was interesting.
Yeah, I may have been just mixed up on who John was with. I know he was on some expedition where he had some trees or a tree getting pushed down.
I think that was on one of his BFRO expeditions.
Yeah, right, correct. Yep, that was it was a BFRO expedition that he was on.
Yeah, I'm going to actually be on a BFRO expedition coming up in November with John.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Lori Wade has invited me to come out.
What a great time to be in the woods too.
Yeah,
that time of year.
Yeah, it really is.
Even now, it's super nice. You know, I love it.
Mornings are great.
Spring, you trudging through the woods, you just get covered in ticks. And it's not so fun. No thanks. Not fun. So, well, we've covered kind of what you think Bigfoot is, but do you think that the Bigfoot mystery is going to come to an end soon, or do you think it's going to be a long ways out yet?
You know, there's no possible way that anybody will ever be able to prove that Bigfoot doesn't exist, but we can prove that he does.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm hopeful because of, the acceptance from the U.S. government with UFOs, UAPs. They're starting to acknowledge them a little bit. Maybe that will open the door for some other stuff. But I don't know. I hope, but I don't think it will.
I do wonder if an electric car is going to smack one.
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't hear them things, do you?
Although I have investigated a couple of car collisions, and in almost every case, they just run off. They see them running off.
Now, do you think there's something to that, Doug? I do. I think
coincidence
things are so elusive. They have stayed hidden from us for how long? And then a car comes and they all of a sudden get stupid. Like they wait to that last minute to run out.
Yeah, that does seem funny.
Yeah, there's so many people that have had roadside crossing sightings. It doesn't make sense to me.
I have a guy that works for me that had a daytime crossing. And I'm not talking on a highway. He was going really slow, like 3 miles an hour, and he comes down a hill and around a quick left turn. And he was just kind of coasting. Thing walked, it was already standing in the road. And then just walked in front of his car, 20 feet from his car, and stepped over a barbed wire fence and walked into the woods. And I don't know. Why did it just freeze there? Did it not hear him coming? Was the wind blowing the right direction? Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, it just seemed odd. Maybe they're curious.
Yeah.
Maybe they like to play chicken.
I think they are very curious of us. And that's what I tell people. I get asked all the time. I was asked recently, if you want to have an experience, a Bigfoot experience, what do you suggest? And I suggest just go be yourself and just go camping. Go to an area that has activity and camp. Just be yourself. I believe if there's any in the area, they'll get curious and they're going to come and check you out.
Yeah.
That's why
it seems to be the most common thing.
Yeah. I mean, hikers, hunters, these people, they accidentally have their sighting. You don't ever hear of researchers going out and finding them. That's why we don't do night hikes anymore. It's just stupid. It's a way to get hurt. It's a way to get lost. Just start tromping through the woods in the middle of the night. I mean, there's other animals out there. You could fall. I mean, the South has caves and like sinkholes and all that stuff. And it's asking for trouble to go walking through the woods in the middle of the night if you're not familiar with the area. And you're never going to sneak up on one. You never are going to sneak up on one. They know that you're coming. So just go camp and let them come to you.
So what I found effective, and usually all of the things I do is to just be a regular, like you said, camper, fisherman, whatever. But we'll do a few tree knocks right in camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then just go to bed. Right before you go to bed. That seems to elicit curiosity.
Yeah.
But maybe they would have came around anyhow. I don't know. You can never reverse it out. Once you do a couple of tree knocks, you can't ever say, Oh yeah, they would have come around and we wouldn't have done them. There's no way of ever knowing. So, but that's what I've done. But I even shy away from vocalizing. But then again, the last day that I was not up at Snell, I had to fly out one day early. They were vocalizing and they had the most activity during the daytime. They started getting pine cones thrown at them from the forest during the day, whipped at them. And they heard what they called the thunder knock. They had to come up with a new phrase to describe this wood knock. They heard it twice. And they said you could actually feel it hit them in the chest. The sound waves. It was that powerful at Snow Grove. So who knows? You know, I don't know. I guess at this point, once again, I don't know anything. Do not listen to me on anything.
And you know what, Doug? One thing that I've noticed when I've gone out camping, and maybe you have too, it seems like once I go to sleep, if something wakes me up in the middle of the night, I can't make myself get up to check it. I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what it is. I'm so tired, so exhausted. I could have
because you're not suicidal.
That could be it. But do you think they're messing with you somehow?
It could be. It could be because I've always felt that being paralyzed.
Yeah.
And I can give you numerous examples where that's happened to me, where I knew they were outside the window. And usually I've never had an experience in a tent yet. And I shouldn't say that. I was camping on somewhere on the Apostle Islands, or maybe it was Madeline Island, which is in Lake Superior. But it's it's an island, but it's real near shore. And we had pine cones thrown at the tent at about 3 a.m, like really hard, over and over and over. And I remember I waited till dawn. It just we stayed awake because it was loud. I mean, they weren't dropping from above. They were being whipped at the tent. And at first I thought, oh, this has got to be just kids. But, when I finally went out there, I realized, no, there's no campers for 10 miles from us. Who's going to be out there at 3 a.m. throwing pine cones at a tent?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. But I don't know.
That's something I really want to experience. I want to experience something being thrown at. I mean, I say that I don't want to get hit in the head with a rock or anything like that. But having something like pine cones thrown at your tent, that's like next level for me. I want to experience that. What about the smell? Have you ever smelled them, Doug?
Yes. God, yes. Yeah, the first time that it happened to me when I was deer hunting, I got this terrible rotten flesh type smell, and I was up deer hunting with my uncle and all my cousins and my best friend, and we're all about a quarter mile apart. And I get this rotten stink, and then I hear chest beating. Not grouse, because I knew, grouse hunter. I knew it. The grouse, wing beats. I could feel the vibrations in my body, and it went away. It's just as quick as it started. But here's where it got interesting. Every single person in our party, when we met for lunch, had the same story. So whatever this thing was, I went to every person's deer stand, blasted them with stink, and did the chest beating. And it was funny because I'm going to have my cousin on, who I just talked to, who remembered that because he was quite young when that happened. But we just got done talking about it like 2 weeks ago on the phone. He's going to come on Untold and tell that story. But that was my first, probably Bigfoot experience. You don't know. He didn't see anything. But what else can beat its chest and blast you with stink? I don't know. I mean, this was not stink. This was rotten flesh. It was just horrid. Where you had to cover your mouth or gag. And then there was another time where it happened to us. We were on horseback, right? Here's your theory, Wayne. So we're on horseback and we're out doing an investigation. And we were filming And we get this blast with this stink, and everybody's like, oh, God, it's horrible. And the weird thing is we had already rode through that area like an hour earlier. There was no smell. So we get this horrible smell. It reminded me of when I was up deer hunting. I had to put my, clothes up over my face, put my shirt over my nose. And then all of a sudden there's a coyote in the trail in front of us. But it was alive. But it was laying down in the trail.
Oh, wow.
It was completely paralyzed, Wayne. Broken back. Just ripped. The spinal column had just been separated. Coyote was super alive, so that just must have happened. And since we had already rode through there, that thing didn't walk there because it had a broken spine. No blood on it. It was just alert. The coyote was totally alert. And we had to put it out of its misery. But when you tie those two things together, I believe it did that to a coyote as intimidation does. But then again, you have to think, what was it doing? How could it grab a coyote? Well, a lot of us have suspected a symbiotic relationship going on between Bigfoots and coyotes, Bigfoots and wolves. So there you go.
Wow,
We filmed it. I have film of it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How long ago was this stuff?
Oh, it was probably about 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. I could send. I don't have it on this computer, but I'll play it. When I do this, I'll play well, maybe we'll get flagged for playing it, so maybe I can't.
Yeah.
I can post it. No, can we even post it? Anyhow. It's just the whole thing it's the sound bites from the people I was with, the coyote laying there. You can see it's well alive. It's looking around. It's not lifting its head, and its spine was severed. You could see big handprints on it, on the fur.
God.
Yeah, it's quite
I'd
interesting.
like to see it, but I don't know that I would.
Yeah, I could send it to you, Wayne.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing you just kind of makes you go, all coincidence? I don't know.
I had heard that before about that possible relationship between Sasquatch and coyote. I never heard wolf, but I'd heard coyote before. But man, that's pretty close to some proof right there, wouldn't you think?
Well, there was a time I started thinking about that when I was up grouse hunting up in Canada, or right on the Canadian border, and I heard a pack of wolves run through our camp. Pretty obvious what a pack of wolves sounds like running through your camp. You hear them panting, you hear them running one after another, and then I hear right behind them, boom, 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 boom. Ground is just shaking. I'm in my little cot, my little army cot, and the thing is just bouncing from the foot, the footfalls. That's the end of it. So what was the Bigfoot doing chasing the pack of wolves, or what was a human doing out there that weighed about 500 pounds running through the middle of the forest? And we were in the middle of nowhere. It was an act of God to even get up there. We had water up to my windows in my van to even get through this beaver dam that we had to drive through, through a pond. And no, it's just nuts. So there you go. Those are my stories.
That's crazy. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah. I've had a lot of experiences, but once again, it's kind of that, So what story do you have when you don't have any proof?
Right.
That kind of a deal. Yeah. I wasn't there doing Bigfoot research. I was grouse hunting.
Yeah.
I was actually filming a documentary called Birds with a Bow, where we were hunting grouse with bow and arrow. So that's why we were up there. We weren't thinking about Bigfoot, doesn't even cross your mind until that happens. And then you go, okay, gray basket. I heard the wolves, and I definitely felt the ground shake and heard the footfalls of a bipedal animal run through our camp, chasing the wolves ahead of it. So you can only come to so many conclusions there.
Yeah.
So anyhow. Sorry, I'm not trying to hog your show.
No.
Wait, but we don't know each other, and that's what's fun about this.
exactly.
Swapping stories, I guess. We're just swapping stories.
Yeah.
But that's normally I like to keep my mouth shut. So how do you think this thing's going to come to an end? What do you think it's going to take to bring it to an end? Is it the body that everybody says, or is not even a body going to do it? Because they're going to go, "Oh, that's a one-off. That's just a fluke. It's some kind of weird human."
Or someone made that. Someone assembled it out of body parts.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
not real.
Yeah.
Right. I think that it's absolutely going to take a body. If we didn't get what we needed out of Patty, I mean, the mystery was solved in 1967. I've said that before. In my opinion, the mystery was solved in 1967. We have what we need, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's not enough, apparently. So I think it's going to take a body. I don't want to be that person that does it, that brings in the body. I really don't. I have no desire to kill one of these things. The only way I ever would is if I was in danger.
Yeah,
or
right.
someone
I feel the same way.
Yeah. You know,
I'm not going to be the one dragging a body in.
No, but I think that's what is going to have to happen. We're going to have a body. And then, Doug, Alex, what's going to happen if somebody gets that body? Because there are stories out there that people have killed these things and tried to bring them in, and they disappear.
Yeah.
That's another thing, right? What happens when you get the body and the government shows up in a truck and takes it away?
I think every organization out there should have a plan. If you are the one that comes up with one, even if you don't kill it, if you come across a dead body, hit it with your car, or if you have to put one down, you need a plan.
Is there any plans in any organization? Like, does the BFRO have anything?
Not really.
There's no protocol.
Nope.
There needs to be.
Everybody hopes they'll call, somebody they know. Somebody accidentally kills one, or there's news of a body. But I do think there'd be a problem. And maybe John can answer this. Would science accept one body? Or would they have to have two? And,
I mean, wouldn't they have to?
I don't know. What if the DNA came out exactly human?
Oh,
right.
You
then
see,
you might go to jail for murder.
Well, that could happen too. But let's just say one was hit by a car.
Yeah.
It goes to the authorities, but then they go, "Oh, the DNA is 99.9% human, and that DNA could be in 1 in 4,000 humans." And so this doesn't prove anything. It just could be but I can't think of the name. A genetic mutation in a human. It's hypertrichinosis or whatever that is when you get covered with hair. You've seen those circus performers that are just completely covered in hair. Even more than a Bigfoot. I mean, they got hair under their eyes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. If the DNA is human.
Yeah. So it just still may just be controversial.
Yeah.
And if there's any controversy by any scientist, we do not have a new species. There won't be any taxonomic, filings. There won't be any taxonomy. So I don't know. We'll just see.
Do you think there's a way, Doug, to prove it without a body?
Well, I think if we can get a bunch of DNA from a number of samples from different locations, from a number of labs, be able to raise the bar. Then some funding can be gotten to get DNA from creatures without killing them. There's very possible. There's tranquilizer darts that could be used. There's other types of DNA traps. I've designed a number of them. And there's all sorts of, hair snags, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
In Legend Meets Science, there will be a number of DNA results from many samples. So we're hoping to raise the bar. I'm not going to prove anything, but we'll raise the bar. Might only be an inch.
So we don't do 1 inch at a time.
Yeah. So what was John's answer on that? Do you need more than one body? That was don't know. Don't know. Yeah. So electric semi truck might do it. Well, these silent semi trucks. Apparently, they're going to be on the road quite heavy in the next 10 years.
Really?
That's what they're saying.
Wow.
And I don't think they'll break for a Bigfoot. I don't think. Who knows? I don't know.
But there is one
John
thing
says, John says yes, replication. So, yeah, more than one body. And the chances of us getting two bodies, Wayne, is not very high.
Now, we can't get one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Can't get one. You're going to get two. But don't you agree, John? It would raise the bar if we did get one body, but it wouldn't prove it. So we just
unless that DNA was something different.
Yeah, if it was really different, and it could be tested by more than one lab, and I just don't think it's going to be. I want to predict it's going to be really close, like so close that they're going to be able to go, yeah, it's so close. I could probably, out of 4,000 people, we could duplicate this DNA. I don't know. I just think it's going to be super, super, super close. But I mean, just think about a big, tall black guy and a little short white guy. We don't look anything like each other. Look at all the different types of humans we have now.
Yeah.
We have many opposites. And so Bigfoot, to me, doesn't necessarily have to be that far from human. It could just be part of the human race.
Yeah, right. It's just an offshoot.
Yeah, just another slight offshoot. No different than being, Caucasian or, Asian or anything. Yep. So, but we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We all have a little hope in the University of North Carolina right now.
Yeah, that's North Carolina State, ain't it?
Yes. Yeah. State. Yep. State University. Yep. So we'll see. We will see. So, what do we got here? So we got 15 minutes. So tell me what your next expedition is going to be. It's going to be in November, and who's all going?
Oh, that's a BFRO.
Oh, it is.
That I was invited. Lori Wade puts those together down here.
That's very cool.
And I met her at the Smoky Mountain conference, a Bigfoot conference. I'd known her. I talked to her a few times before then. Her and John are good buddies.
Okay.
He's been on a bunch of her expeditions, and she and I have talked a few times, but we met in person at that conference where I was at with Brian.
What I think is so cool, Wayne, is it's at least a bunch of like-minded people getting together that are curious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've never been to one that big, and from what I hear, there's sometimes there's 30 people at these things. So it's going to be interesting. I'll be there with John. Yeah,
one of the expeditions up here in Minnesota provided me with fingerprint sebum off a car at one of the BFRO expeditions.
Oh, wow.
So thankful for that. Something left a big, huge handprint on a car, and with that kind of white, waxy skin oil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were nice enough to collect it and get it to me.
Were you able to get anything out of it?
Oh, God. Well, I can't say that until Legitimate Science comes out. But no, it hasn't even been tested yet. But it's packed up and gone. So.
Very cool.
So we really, really appreciated that. And that's part of the key if people do these expeditions, to at least get audio recorders. If you find fingerprints or something weird on your car the next morning, do what you can to collect evidence. Yep.
Yeah.
But I hear a lot of good things about them.
Yeah.
Very
as
cool.
far as a Mannimal expedition, we should be getting out in the woods sometime in October.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, looking forward to getting back out there.
So tell me about your podcast and working with Brian. Brian's a good friend, and Brian's part of our network too. So I guess we're third cousins.
Yeah, Brian is another real good friend of mine. I'd never met him. I was in a documentary, or I guess it's not really a documentary. It's a movie that's currently on Tubi called Battle of the Beasts: Bigfoot versus Yeti. I was asked to be a part of that, and a television crew came down and interviewed me for a day. And I put that on Facebook, and Brian saw it and invited me to come on his show, Sasquatch Odyssey. So I took him up on it, went on his show, and just he and I became really, really good friends quick. He asked me if he could use a couple of my Janice Carter interviews, if he could take the audio from those and share them on his show. And of course, yeah, go ahead. So he did that. And then he had me back on to talk about Janice. And from there, we just became really good friends. He approached me with the idea of taking over the Paranormal Odyssey podcast because, Sasquatch Odyssey is so successful, and he decided to branch off because so many people were talking about stuff other than Bigfoot. So that's where the paranormal side come from. So, but he's just so busy with that show and all the other stuff that he's got going on. And, we became buddies, and he asked me to take it over, and I've been doing that now about 80 episodes, I'd say. And also I already had the YouTube channel, and I just converted it over to Paranormal Odyssey. And yeah, having a really good time over there.
So what kind of topics do you cover? And by the way, I want to interrupt before you answer that. Bigfoot, New York Todd, I believe you also submitted hair samples. And yes, he's got, there we go, more prints, and love to get them. And we are putting, of course, the collector's name. We're submitting them because we want them part of Legend Meets Science, but we're giving you full credit for the collection as the collector. So if anybody else has anything they want to send, I'd love to look at it. So go ahead. So what kind of topics do you cover on this show that you're doing?
I go heavy on the Bigfoot. I know that seems like a shock, but talk about the big guy a lot. But other than that, we talk about UFOs, and have a lot of paranormal investigators come on, ghost hunters. Love talking about the spooky stuff. I've interviewed several psychic mediums, had them on. Those are always interesting. And
psychics always have stuff to say about Bigfoot, don't they? That's interesting.
Yeah, I've never met one that said that he's not real. Every single one of them has said that he's real. I've found that interesting. But yeah, and if I can kind of segue off, to talk about this new show, that this is going to be the first time that anyone has ever talked about it publicly. Brian and I host the Sasquatch Odyssey. We have decided to start a brand new Bigfoot show. It is going to be called That Bigfoot Podcast.
Oh, cool.
It will be launched in October. We're looking at a October 13th launch date for the first episode. We are currently recording episodes now. We're going to get 5 of them done and then launch all 5 of those at the same time. So you've got a little bit to binge. Then after that, it'll be a once a week release. And we are so very excited about this show. It's not like any other podcast, Bigfoot podcast you've ever heard. It's not your grandpa's Bigfoot show.
So are you going to talk? Are you going to interview witnesses, or just talk amongst yourself, discuss things?
We're not going to do encounters. We'll keep the encounters for his show and for my show. That's kind of our bread and butter. We do plan on having guests, but it's not going to be an encounter based show. The first episode that we did, we talked about hoaxes and some of the people that are known for having these elaborate hoaxes. We're not going to hold any punches on this show. We're not going to be buttholes and call people out or anything, but we're going to talk about the stuff that most don't want to. And I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be a really, really good show.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll have to just kind of wait and see here. So, well, I feel honored you announced it here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I'm very, very excited about it. I know Brian is too. Like I said, we've I think 3 episodes done. We're going to do 2 more Friday, and then he's going on his expedition with Todd Standing in the beginning of October. So We would launch it earlier, but we're going to wait till he gets back.
Okay.
So, October 13th, tentatively.
Well, that's controversial, so that'll be interesting. He'll have a lot to talk about when he gets back.
That's right.
That's a long journey for him. He's going all the way to British Columbia.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So anybody who has any questions for Wayne, get them in now. Get them in now. We've got about 7 minutes left. I've been looking. Man, the chat's going nuts.
There is my partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. She is my producer over on the show. She's on my live broadcast. Yeah,
Hi,
she's
Tiffany.
on all of my live YouTube broadcasts. She's my new co-host, I guess you call her. She's awesome. She's killing it, doing an amazing job.
Oh, great.
Say hey to Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany. So do you think that this thing is just going to keep growing? The whole Bigfoot interest, because it seems to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's like it's not going anywhere, is it, Doug?
No, because you got to remember, okay, I did Monster Quest, right? I was, always been into it, but I never got involved with social media. I always stayed far away, never did anything. So I joined Facebook, and I'm like, oh, what the hell has happened? There were all these Facebook groups. And I couldn't believe the amount of growth that had happened in the research and because I always did everything on my own.
Yeah.
So do you think there's an end to it? Do you think it's going to die down, or are we at the peak, or what do you think's going on, Wayne?
That's what I've been wondering for a while, because you would think that it would have to eventually die down a little bit, wouldn't you think? But it doesn't seem like it. I mean, there's such an interest out there, and what really surprises me is the kind of people that are showing an interest. Because years ago it was frowned upon, and it was stereotypical backwoods country people. Maybe not the most educated in the world that was claiming to see these things. But now you have doctors. One of my best friends in the world is a doctor, Dr. John Baranchuk. I have a high school diploma. I don't have these advanced degrees.
Right.
He is one of the he's probably the smartest man I know.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And
we're great friends. And that wouldn't have happened except for Bigfoot. Bigfoot is the reason.
Right. It's a bridge.
That a man like John and a man like myself can become such good friends. I would have never met Brian Sharp if it wasn't for Bigfoot. So just the class of people has changed. I guess you've noticed that.
Yeah. I just really wonder. I couldn't believe how big it was. And since I've gotten involved in social media and doing this show, I'm seeing even more growth. And so maybe it will just keep going and going and going, because technically, I guess it's still small. But when Monster Quest went off the air, it was tiny. I mean, the amount of people that were interested in Bigfoot would be just tiny. In fact, most people, even when I was doing Monster Quest, it was a little ahead of its time. Most people thought it was, terrible. How could the History Channel have such a horrible, dumb show on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were just so many people that were uneducated on the topic that would be upset that History Channels get tons of paranormal because there's more people interested in it.
Right.
So I maybe it'll just keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and maybe there's obviously more scientists getting involved, and I'm aware of that for sure.
But maybe when we do, obviously, if the government was to come out and admit, there is a giant bipedal ape running around in North America, then maybe the interest would die down because it's not a secret anymore, or it's maybe at that point it starts to die. But I think it's going to take something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a mystery that's not going to go away, and it's fueled constantly. That's the element people don't understand. it's constantly fueled every day by new sightings. We're not studying unicorns here. This is fueled constantly. Every time I have an experience, it's fueled. I'm going to start searching out more info, which I do. You just do. It's just kind of a normal thing to do. And so the more people that get involved and interested, get out in the field, start paying attention to what happens to them out there, start thinking, connecting dots from all the things. Oh, you mean that time that we were getting, I didn't know that rocks hitting your tent was maybe a Bigfoot. And now you've just got somebody who's really into it, because it's just ignorance, just not knowing.
Yeah. And, that's happened to me. There's been times, when I was younger, looking back, things that happened to me that I couldn't explain at the time. To looking back now that I'm a little more, informed on the topic.
Yep, right.
Maybe that was.
You connect dots.
Yeah.
And somebody had asked whether if I have any proof of Bigfoot or what. Of course, we're just going to, it'll be the scientists relating the info. I'm not going to hold anything back.
Yeah.
And people will still have to make their own mind up if they believe that scientist or that lab and, whatever the results. If all the results come back, bad, and that's what's going to be in the doc. I can't change the results of a lab. So I think maybe we're in for just more growth, Wayne.
I think so. And I saw someone had questioned earlier that where they can find the new podcast, and that's going to be wherever you get podcasts. It's an audio only podcast, so Apple, Spotify.
Do you have a link yet that you can get us?
I will get it for you, but it's not yet. So I will get it to you.
Yeah, if you can just put the link up for Paranormal World Productions, Alex, in the description.
Yeah,
for their show. There we go.
Yeah, you can get us all of the shows there.
And Sasquatch Odyssey is part of that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Very cool. Well, we're gonna say goodnight on time tonight for once. We never do. I saw my ring camera go off. So I know my food got delivered, my supper.
Perfect.
I haven't eaten all day. So anyhow, but thanks everybody for this great chat. And I see a lot of people I know and in chat tonight, and I really do appreciate it. And hello, David. I see David. I see all sorts of people in there. And yes, somebody had a question. They could IM me. Yes, they can after the show. Give me 15 minutes to wolf my food down. Thanks, Wayne. It's a
Wayne.
pleasure meeting you. And you have my number. I hope you stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
And let's just try to chat privately sometime.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. I appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks for everything, Alex.
Thanks, everyone.
And thanks, everybody. And good night. And God bless everybody.
Good night.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. I'll pick you up in my 59 Ford. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should stop falling, we'll head on home again. Everybody else can see